Hey guys, Tina here and welcome to another video. Today I'm filming a review of Soul of the World by David Mealing. Now I know that I talked about it quite extensively in one of my weekly reads videos, but I decided that I have a few things more that I want to say, so I'm filming a full review and hopefully somebody's going to be happy about that. But anyways, this is going to be, spoiler free, so it's safe to watch in case you're just curious about this book, but let's get to it. Soul of the World by David Mealing is book 1 in his Ascension cycle. It's also his debut novel, and when I heard the premise of it I was really excited and I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. So this is a world that's really similar to colonial United States. This new continent was discovered and the great nations, Gant and Saracen, have colonies there. But that's just a small part of the continent. The rest of the continent is basically wilderness, and tribes live there that are very similar to Native American tribes. And also there are wild beasts that hunt humans, so in order to protect their colonies, these great nations build this border that separates them from the rest of the continent, basically. Despite that, both colonies are trying to get additional land, so there's a war, and which is quite common, I guess. We get to follow the story from 3 point of view characters. The first one is Eris, and she's an officer in the Saracen army. She's very ambitious, but also very caring about her soldiers. She, wants them to survive, so she keeps constantly drilling them and making sure that they're better, and that they do better as well on the battlefield. She is also the user of Leyline magic, which is only one of the 3 magic systems in this book. What Leyline magic does is there are different ley lines, and each type of ley line basically enables you to use different kind of powers. There's body, faith, death, empathy and such, and each one makes you more powerful, makes you heal yourself or others, and things like that. And she's also known as a full binder, which means that she can use 3 or more types of leyline magic, which is really uncommon at this point. Ley lines are also the reason there is war between Gant and Saracen, because with new land you have potential to gain new ley lines, and that means new, potentially unknown powers, and that's why the 2 great nations are at war. The second character we follow is Serene. She's a street artist living in New Saracen. She's an orphan, and she makes her living with sketching these great society events and then selling her sketches to the interested public. She's also the user of Leyline magic, but she does hide that fact because in this world the king, all the magic belongs to the king, and you have to be sort of approved that you can use the magic. But in order for that to happen, you will probably end up in the Saracen army, which is something that Serene is not really keen on, so she hides her magic. That is not the only type of magic that Serene uses. She also possesses Ska magic, and that means that she has this reptilian kind of companion called Z, and this companion sort of can, lend her his powers, make her stronger, fight better, be more intuitive, whatever she needs basically. And he's also sort of her advisor, teaches her what to do, what not to do, and things like that. The last character that we follow is Arakjur. He's the guardian of the Sinari tribe, and as such, his role in the tribe is to protect his people from the wild beasts that roam the wilderness. He uses spirit magic, which is the 3rd type of magic in this book. So the world in which our characters live is changing really quickly, and they have to be really adaptable to basically follow those changes if they want to basically survive. And Eris, she, as I mentioned, is very ambitious, and she's determined to be best of the best basically, and she wants to get up on the ladder in the military of the rankings, I guess. And she's determined to also protect her soldiers. She does care about them. But what she does realize soon, as she's on the battlefield, is that the enemy is better and more cunning than she and everyone else in the army basically. And if they want to beat him, they will have to do a lot better, and it's going to be hard and bloody. And sometimes as you read, as a reader, of course, you see the decisions that these characters are making, and you do wonder whether or not they're going to be okay at the end, because you're not sure about the right or wrong of things. Serene is in a similar situation in a way, and not exactly the same, but still pretty similar. She roams the streets of New Saracen, and she sees the discord and the unhappiness, the restlessness of the people. There's this huge divide between the rich and the poor, and it seems like the divide is getting bigger and bigger, and there's no way to cross it. And there are people that are actually igniting the fires and making that people sure that people are angry and dissatisfied and that they want to fight. And Serene does agree with the fact that there needs to be change, but she's not exactly sure herself, of course, how to do that, how to cross that bridge. But there are people entering her life that are also interested in that, and she will have to figure out who the good guys are and who the bad ones are. And of course there's also the fact that she is trying to figure out all the magic stuff in her life, because she's not exactly new to it, but she does not really know how it works, as you know, the reader doesn't understand either. So it's really interesting to follow, and you pick up this interesting information and sort of try to put it together just as she does. And then we have Arek-Jur, and his life is turning upside down as well. The first thing is that the spirits that guide their tribesmen, their elders, you know, the shaman, as well as him as a guardian, they're sort of not really giving them great advice. It seems like they're purposefully steering them to war with other tribes, as well as the fair folk that has, you know, colonized the continent. And Arek-Jur sees what is happening, and he's trying so hard to prevent that from happening. But whether or not he fails or not, you will have to read the book. But Arek-Jur is really also set in his ways, you know, and there's things have certain order in his head, and it's really bad to cross those boundaries, and that is exactly what is happening. And whether or not he's going to succeed, you know, it's up to him, because is he going to be able to cross those boundaries and see that the world does not necessarily have to follow the same path all the time? Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's really this character development, and I think he's actually the one that has the biggest character development out of all of three, and I really like that because he makes such great progress. I really enjoy that. What I really liked about this book is all the strong female characters. We have Eris, who is this great soldier, and she's really ambitious, and she's striding up the ranks really fast, and she's gonna go places. And her superiors trust her, and they put her in positions where she has to learn and fight and do her hardest to, you know, prevail. And then we have Serene, who's this young girl, and she's, you know, she was raised basically by herself on the streets, and she did huge things for herself, and she is learning how to use her magic and to use a new magic that, you know, she encounters, and she wants to help people, and she is determined to do that no matter the cost. Well, you know, more or less. And we have these tribeswomen that also, you know, despite the fact that they live completely different lives than Serene or Eris, they're also, you know, they're also ambitious, and they fight for themselves, and they try, you know, to do better and harder and all that, and I really enjoy that. It's so refreshing to see that in a fantasy book, and I have to say I really enjoy that. On the other hand, the one thing that really stopped me from loving this book is the writing style. The writing style, it's so dense, and it takes you so long to get through the sentences, and you have to go back a few times just to make sense of it all. And the pacing was slow, you know, and all that kept me from really enjoying the book, because all in all I had to concentrate so hard on it that I could not read more than like 50 pages a day, which, you know, sometimes that's a lot, sometimes it's not. And it took me a really long time to get through this book, which is, you know, not something that I really enjoy. But I did, you know, when I got sort of to the halfway point, I started getting really invested in this book and the characters, and I really enjoyed it after that. But at the end of it, I'm still pretty confused at how the world is, you know. I mean, the world itself, okay, it's simple because it's sort of familiar to us, but all the magic systems, they're like, what the hell, I don't even know what's going on half the time, and I really wish that it was sort of better explained. But aside from that, I did enjoy it. I'm probably gonna pick up the rest of the books in the series, although I'm pretty sure I'm gonna sort of wait, you know, there are like a few more out before I reach for them. But all in all, it's a good book, and I do recommend it. It's not for, you know, somebody who wants to get into fantasy, I don't think, because, you know, it has a pretty high, steep learning curve, so you have to really get into it fast, which is, as I mentioned, hard. But for someone who is, you know, used to that kind of things and all that, definitely pick it up. If it sounds interesting at all, just do that. And yes, basically those are all my thoughts now, I think, on this book. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful, and see you in my next one. So bye!